the world would think you need a seminar to teach you how to laugh? Well, believe it or not, you do. And the quality of your life depends on it. That's because Laughter Links teaches you to laugh in the absence of humor. This is the Sound Good Health Myth. These nurses from the Wichita Clinic are taking part in a program called Laughter Links, which is taught by a woman named Judy Young.
Laughter unites people from all walks of life.
Imagine having a title like a laughter coach. That has to raise a few eyebrows, right? So what in the world does a laughter coach do? Judy teaches you to laugh when nothing is funny.
We teach people to laugh for no reason, and people laugh at that idea because everybody says, oh, I know how to laugh. I can laugh easily. I laugh all the time. But what we're talking about is laughing in the absence of humor.
But it's really about practicing exercises. It's just learning how to move those muscles and use those muscles that are required for laughing in a way that is kind of in a ritual and in an exercise, just like lifting weights, just like doing yoga, any other types of exercise.
So how did Judy come up with this idea?
The credit is to Dr. Kataria, who is a cardiologist in India. And he read Norman Cousins' book, The Man Who Became Known as the Man Who Laughed Himself Well. And he wanted to bring more laughter into the lives of his cardiac patients.
But Dr. Kataria found that was harder than he thought it would be.
Humor and laughter are two separate things. Our humor is dictated by our culture, our language, our intelligence, our taste, our preferences, and our mood at the moment. So what he found was what was funny to one person was not. In fact, it was offensive.
That's when he realized he needed to teach people to laugh for no reason, like this. Judy says when she read an article in Parade magazine about Dr. Kataria's ideas, she knew she wanted to go through his training program.
It was about 6 months later when I finally went for the training. Nobody in town knew what I was doing, and found it to be an amazing, amazing thing, and loved it, and came home not knowing what I was going to do with it. And finally one day it occurred to me, where do we have the most stress in our life? And it's the workplace.
So Judy began offering seminars to teach this program to others. The positive effects of this kind of laughter had never been studied until Judy collaborated with Prairie View to conduct a one-of-a-kind study that's being published in the Journal of Primary Prevention.
There's been a lot of research on the effect of laughter on well-being. The only problem is most of the research got people to laugh by telling jokes or showing them funny video clips, and so humor was used as the way to induce laughter. The only problem with those studies is they couldn't differentiate whether it was the humor or the laughter that caused people to do well. And so what's kind of revolutionary about what Judy's doing with Laughter Links is that it separates the laughter, the act of laughter, from the humor that makes it happen.
Nate Regier was the principal investigator of the study.
And I have a background in research, and so I thought I'll help design the research study and maybe I can cajole some of my colleagues to be participants.
Ours is the first study, and it's the first study that's ever been done in the workplace.
Here's a look at some of the results. These graphs show that after just 3 weeks of 15-minute laughter sessions, participants had higher levels of positive emotions, empathy, optimism, self-motivation, and lots more. In other words, they liked themselves more and their jobs better than before they began laughter training.
Well, we found that it did huge things for their sense of self. Particularly, we were looking at social and emotional intelligence.
Here's how it works.
If I can get people to laugh with me for 3 consecutive weeks, just 15 minutes each morning, I've got them hooked.
David Gear was one of the participants in the Prairie View study.
What changes did you see in yourself?
I found that the release of endorphins during laughter allowed me to consume less and less caffeine each day, to the point where I really didn't even need that jump start of caffeine in the morning, because I had this natural endorphin release that was better than any amount of caffeine you could drink throughout the day.
What's even more amazing is the positive effects made a lasting impression.
We remeasured everybody, reassessed people at 90 days after the program was over, and for the most part, the gains that we saw maintained, almost about 80%.
The results of the Prairie View study show the body doesn't care if your laughter is from humor or not. It still has the same effect.
The results were greater than I thought they would be. I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't have any idea it was going to be that good. Yeah. It's exciting.
Nate says they also found the program had some unofficial side benefits as well.
We didn't set out to measure physiological or physical benefits.
What were some of the things that people mentioned to you?
Well, I lost 4 pounds, and I wasn't trying. It wasn't a goal of mine. I just noticed that it happened. Another gentleman, about the second week of the program, said that his doctor had taken him off his blood pressure medication, and that now, a year and a half later, he's still off of it, and he practices laughter every day on the way to work. Someone else's psoriasis cleared up.
Not only did Nate conduct the study, he practiced the exercises as well.
What did you learn from it, and what changes happened in your life?
For me, probably the most important thing was that I can have control over my emotions, that I'm in charge. I can get myself to the edge of losing it, laughing, but I can also get myself right back under control. And I remind myself of that frequently when life gets tough or I have 50 things to do and everybody's demanding my time, that I'm in charge of my emotions.
No matter how big the issue is, if you spend a few minutes laughing during or after that particular issue arises, it just seems to really help the day.
So what would you say to people who think this is the craziest thing they have ever heard?
Got to try it. Just give it a try, and then see what you say.